like we're supposed to be going. Um, Let me just make sure everything is working as it's supposed to. I always have to check and make sure that the live feed is actually going. Um, and it should be. Uh, okay, it is. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Hello. My name is Valerie. This is Don't Watch at Night Creepy Cocktail Hour number 15. I haven't even started yet. I'm just tired because it's 9:30 where I am. So, Creepy Cocktail Hour number 15 for the Don't Watch at Night podcast. I'm one half of the hosting team, Valerie. My sister Veronica is the other host. If you listen to us on a regular basis, then you know we post every other Monday. We just released our newest episode this past Monday, so like 2 days ago, which was a book club episode all on This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. We are a podcast dedicated to lifting up Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. That doesn't mean that it's all like exclusively Spanish language. We cover a variety of different movies, primarily films, and the occasional book club episode. So, Creepy Cocktail Hour is just where I like to gather and talk about weird crap and drink cocktails. And tonight we are doing a watch party. We're going to be watching 1941's The Wolf Man, a horror classic. This is actually also the first watch. We've done watch parties before. This is the first watch party we're doing with the broader public. So if you are part of our Patreon, then you got your invite to this a while back. You got some resources this morning, which is kind of everything that I'm going to be pulling information from tonight. If you're catching us off YouTube or somewhere else, then you didn't get those resources ahead of time, but I will be posting them in the YouTube comments after the live stream is over. Okay. So let's get to cocktail because I've got ice sitting out. Okay. And actually, what we're going to go ahead and do, if it's all right with you, we're also going to start the film. It's an hour long. This film was directed by, hold on, let me make sure I have things up that I wanted to have up before I go on any further. Let me make sure I have things posted that need to be posted. So 1941, directed by George Waggner, starring Lon Chaney Jr. And tonight we're also going to be making the cocktail that we're making is an American Werewolf. And this cocktail comes from stgeorgespirits.com. And if you go to stgeorgespirits.com, and I don't know if in the past I've been able to share my screen. So let me attempt to do that here just to show you real quick. I promise we're going to get this movie started. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Just want to share this real quick. Hopefully you can see this. We're about to find out. So this is the American Werewolf. Calls for 1.5 ounces of St. George Terror gin, 3/4 ounce Bruto Americano, and 3/4 ounce of a sweet vermouth. If you'll notice, this is a photo taken by, which I'm presuming the cocktail was also made by, Apartment Bartender. That is it. That is social media. You can find him at Apartment Bartender on Instagram for sure, but probably other social media. I encourage you to go ahead and follow him if you don't already. He does a lot of really great craft cocktails. Very good at his game. Okay, let me stop share, not stop live stream. If you've been part of Creepy Cocktail Hours from the jump, then you know there was that one time that Valerie meant to stop sharing her screen, and instead I ended the entire live stream and then had to kick off another live stream. It was a huge nightmare. And so I said, never again. Okay, so did that. So let's get to it. But while we're getting to it, let's also go ahead and cue up our movie, okay? So what I'll do is I'll do a count off. And then periodically throughout the live stream, I will also give timestamps if I can. So hold on, hold on. Okay, so I'm about to push play, and you may hear it. I have it very low. You may hear it in the background. If it's too loud, just let me know. Okay, 3, 2, 1, play. Is it playing? Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Yay, Universal. Okay, so while that's going, my friends, let me go ahead and break out. I've got my glass pitcher. This cocktail needs to be stirred, not shaken. Wolfman. Universal presents the Wolfman. I I do have the St. George Terror gin. Claude Rains as Sir John Talbot. Um, Warren William as Dr. Floyd. Now, Ralph Bellamy as Colonel Montford. Patrick Knowles as Frank Andrews. If you're watching this, then you probably don't need me reading this to you. Bella Lugosi as Bella. I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he originally gunning for the role of Wolfman? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'll find it later when I'm reading Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. So as I pointed to you and when I showed you the recipe at first, it does call for Bruto Americano. I could not find that at my local liquor store. So, and there's a lot of things that you could do as substitutes. This Fascia Bruto might be a suitable substitute. The internet says it is. It's probably not the strongest substitute, but even the strongest substitutes that I did find on the internet, my local Total Wine didn't have those either. So this is what I could find, and this is what we're going to go with today. So pulling out the book. I guess this is a good time for me to tell you, like, I'm a huge fan of Benicio del Toro's take on Wolfman. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I actually like that movie. I own that movie, and I own this one too, Lycanthropy. Okay, so let me break out my ice while we're reading about werewolfism. And I do have some fun stuff we're going to discuss later about what the experts say about whether or not werewolves ever truly existed at any point in history. Loud noise, guys. These black and white movies are so much fun. And it's just so cool to get to go back and see them. When we first started this podcast, I went on a little journey of watching like as many of the Frankenstein films as I could. And I kind of stopped after a while, but it would be fun to kind of pick that back up, including like getting all the way into the more recent Frankensteins. Obviously, I've seen the most recent Frankenstein with Guillermo del Toro's direction. Okay, so I've got my gin going in the glass. I've got, I combine my Bruto, Fascia or Faccia. It's probably not Faccia. Fascia, Bruto, and sweet vermouth. I combine them together, so that's going in here. And then that's it. That's all that that is called for in the drink. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir. And then you're gonna strain this out over like a old-fashioned tumbler with a large ice cube, and you can garnish with a sprig of rosemary, which I do have. Now I will tell you, the last time I saw this particular film was maybe like a few years ago, but the first time I ever saw this film wasn't even by way of this film. It was by way of The Sandlot, when The Sandlot came out, and I was young. I was like a kid. And this movie is featured in towards the end of that movie. And that was the first time I'd seen the Wolfman. So we've got, talking about the Talbots. So I'm giving it a nice good stir. It's very fragrant. It's very pungent. This isn't necessarily like, this is for the person who loves a cocktail. There's no like other sweetener in here. Okay, let me get my big ice cube. We're backward people. Big ice cube. Sorry if I'm making a big loud racket. So here is my glass with my ice cube. This is the part of our cocktail hour where I always feel a little bit like I'm on a cooking show. I'm not going to I tried to do that on screen for you guys, but it's just going to make a huge mess. So you're just going to have to trust that I'm doing a good job pouring off camera. I will show it to you before I take a sip. Don't worry. Oh, big telescope. If you are a big fan of this movie, tell me about the first time you saw it. Rosemary. Okay, so what I was gonna try to do, I have this little one of these little cocktail, um, clothespins. I was gonna try yeah. Does that look stupid? A little bit stupid, but we're gonna rock it. You could also put a rosemary in the drink, and I might actually do that as well. I might just double the pleasure, double my fun. Okay, here we go. My American Werewolf cocktail. Cheers. Happy creepy cocktail hour, everybody. That's very tasty. That's very good. It's it kind of reminds you of a reminds me of a Negroni a little bit. And I did see how like was it aperitivo? It's not aperitivo. What's the word? Aperol. I couldn't think of Aperol. Aperol could also be a substitute if you wanted to go for. This is what the internet said again. If you wanted to go for something sweeter, but this is good. This is good. I do like it. An American Werewolf. And I never would have tried. I never would have known about it if I hadn't gone looking for this movie. Okay. Uh-oh. He spies the beauty. By the way, when I was looking at posters for this movie, there's some boobs in the poster. So I'll be sharing some fun things periodically as we move through this evening. Things that you probably already know, that you're probably already very well aware of if you're a big fan of this film. Um, his makeup took like 6 hours to apply and 3 hours to get off, which honestly I think is pretty modest now when you consider practical effects now. I did not I mean, I'm sure it's in the art book of Frankenstein of how long Jacob Elordi's makeup took to get into for Frankenstein. Beautiful suit. The suits of the 1940s. Gorgeous. Now, Dick Foran was originally cast in this role. He was replaced um, with he was replaced just 1 week before filming began. Now, let me share with you some fun stuff that I found. This was from an article that came out just last year, um, written by Sarah Lemire. Are werewolves real? Everything to know on the legendary lycanthrope. The fascinating history behind these mythical and mystical monsters, and whether or not experts think they actually exist. Because he's been spying on you, girl. I'm psychic. Psh. Uh-huh. Oh, I thought she said, "What kind of camera would you like?" Which would be very fun for, you know, her being like, "I'm on to you, buddy. You're a watcher. You're a creeper." So, um, are werewolves real? Good question. Like vampires, I'm reading from the article right now. Like vampires, witches, Frankenstein, and other classic monsters in history, these shapeshifters are the stuff movies are made of, and they've been part of our folklore for centuries. Monsters, this is a quote, monsters allow us to explore those categories that we're afraid to mix and match, or those fears that we're afraid to face directly. This is Josh Woods, an author and English professor and host of the podcast, The Monster Professor. According to Woods, people believe in werewolves and other mythical creatures like ghosts, zombies, and vampires because they tap into our deepest fears, especially fears of what can happen when we allow our darkest impulses to go unchecked. Um, Now, sorry, I'm listening. Like my big dream would be to like work in an antique shop. Although the concept of werewolves has been around for thousands of years, Scott Poole, who's a PhD and history professor at the College of Charleston in South Carolina, says that pretty much all of our modern day notions of the creature come as the direct result of this movie. It's from this film that we learn things like werewolves must be killed with silver, that one becomes a werewolf by being bitten by another werewolf, or that they transform under the light of a full moon. So these are all things that kind of we understood to be based off this film and films like it. Um, and according to Poole, nearly every werewolf film since this one has used those basic concepts in one form or another. He says it's 1941 and Universal Studios that gives us the werewolf with which we are most familiar, this film. And honestly, this moment right here reminds me of Frankenstein. Different time period, obviously, but okay, we're at 11 seconds. We're 11 seconds into this film. Fortune tellers. They pass through here every autumn, she says. You know what else I love about like the fashion, also the hair. I have tried to wear my hair in curls like that multiple times. I've tried to be one of those girls who goes to sleep with, those foam rollers on, and I can do it, but it's a shitty night's sleep. I'd rather just sleep well. The classic horror film, this one we're watching, is also responsible for many of our other common werewolf traits, including the image of a half man, half beast, howling at the moon, hunting prey, before turning back into a human at dawn. I do think, like, Benicio del Toro's turn as Wolfman, I do think that he really I think he was really great in that role. I think Anthony Hopkins also did great in that role, and Emily Blunt. I think that might have been the first Emily Blunt film I saw. I can't remember. I don't remember when that Wolfman came out. I don't remember the year. Was it before or after Devil Wears Prada? I honestly don't know. Um, so the article says that across American culture, but also other cultures around the world, you'll find tales of shape shifting into things like bears, hyenas, jaguars, foxes, even raccoons. Um, in India, the Rakshasa, if I'm saying that right, and I doubt I am, the Rakshasa has the power to transform into any animal. So, in hunting down the werewolf, we have to look to Hollywood and to a small little rivulet of folklore that pop culture transformed into a tsunami. Um, but there have been tales of shapeshifters throughout history. And so, honestly, the article talks a little bit about a lesser known period of persecution. We're all familiar with the witch trials, the witch hunts of uh, parts of Europe, but then also obviously in North America as well, including Salem, Massachusetts. But during the 1500s and 1600s, there were also people presumed to be werewolves. There were the werewolf trials, people who faced similar fates in Europe. The article says in the era of witch hunts, French authorities, seeing witches everywhere, believed their satanic powers included the ability to transform into a wolf. So they believed that people who practiced witchcraft could also shapeshift. As a result, he said countless people, Poole, again, the professor, he says countless people were burned at the stake for the crime of being a loup garou or manwolf. Garou? Loup garou? Or manwolf? Man wolf. Wolf man sounds better. I think this we're going to meet that lady, the old fortune teller. It grows on you as you drink it. Now, like, I'll be honest with you. I like this cocktail just fine. It's not what I would pick for myself if I was like at a bar, primarily because I'm not a big Negroni fan. So, there she is. Exquisite. I'm not a big Negroni fan. I've tried to be. I'm working on it. I can do like a modified Negroni. And maybe this would taste a little bit better had I found that Bruto Americano. It is good. That's not fair to say maybe it would taste better. It is good. It's just not my cocktail. A little bit sweeter. I would have preferred a little bit sweeter. So even for me, this is a little too much cocktail. So maybe with the Aperol, that would have been fine. But see, even Aperol and a Negroni, like I tend to go light on Aperol, because the taste of Aperol is something I'm still getting used to as an adult. Ooh, look at this nice foggy scene. Every year, Halloween time, I have do I own 2 fog machines now? No, I almost bought a second one. Did I buy a second one? I for sure have one. I didn't buy a second one. I thought about it. And maybe this Halloween I follow through on it. But I have a fog machine. I have an industrial one. And we buy nice thick fog that like sits and doesn't go anywhere, doesn't disperse. And so every Halloween season, Halloween night, we release the fog machine and people will come from like a block like 2 blocks down and say, "We followed the fog." Like, the fog just permeates slowly through the neighborhood, and by the end of the night, they're like, "We just followed the fog to you." And I have kids every year who are like, "You're the best house in the neighborhood," and that makes me feel so good. I put a lot of work into Halloween. I am a Halloween nut, and so when I talk about it on the show, like, I'm very inspired by, some amazing people that you can see their work online. Pumpkin Rot, I think we all know him if you follow Halloween. There's also Señor Scary, who I believe is out of California, and you can find him on Sen as a at Señor Scary on social media. He does really amazing work. So, and then there's other people, and I can't, maybe what I'll do after the live stream is I'll share some of those accounts to follow because they're very inspirational to me every year. There's Bella Lugosi. Oh no. My first year uh, decking out our garage, we do like a haunted garage. Except like we don't do like a full on like walkthrough. It's more like we create a scene. We have done walkthroughs before and definitely probably should consider doing that again. I just like the last 2 years, what I've been able to manage, what I can personally tackle is a scene where it's just like you walk up and you just look at it and admire it. And so our first year of doing that, we did Frankenstein, and I built a Frankenstein body. I built like I laid him on a table, strapped stuff on it so it looks like he's laying on a scientific mad scientist laboratory table. This past year, I got a hold of a mannequin, and I have a werewolf head, bought a werewolf suit, except I wasn't modeling it to be a werewolf. I was modeling it to be a chupacabra. Again, inspired by Senor Scary. Fully um, own up to that. He was big inspiration for me this past Halloween. Okay, so we're seeing the impact. He's been bit. Larry, where are you? Running through the frog. Beautiful. Love it. Let's get back to that article. Let me share some more information about that because the wolf trials. We were talking about the wolf trials. Um, So lots of people burned at the stake, accused of being man wolves. In fact, according to Woods, the practice of burning and executing werewolves lasted well into the 1700s. 1700s. There were a lot of places and times where that was way more popular than the witch trials, even. They were convicting, torturing, and executing people on the charge of being werewolves. And in one of the most notorious werewolf trials in history, Peter Stump, a German farmer, sorry, I got distracted. A German farmer, widely known as the werewolf of Bedburg, was accused of sadistically murdering and eating the flesh of dozens of children and adults back in the 1500s. Um, According to the 2016 book Supernatural Serial Killers, Stump was convicted of being a werewolf, among many other heinous crimes. After reportedly confessing to the gruesome acts, he was tortured and then executed in a horrific display on Halloween 1589. We may have to make a note about that. Somebody make a note about that. I don't have paper in front of me, but we should read more about the werewolf of Bedburg. Uh, Maybe we'll talk about that on a subsequent creepy cocktail hour. Look at that candelabra with those candles. Reminds me of something that you would see in Christine McConnell's house. Jenny Williams. Murdered. Okay, we're at 20 minutes. Um, so why do people believe in werewolves? Well, it's easy to see how, hundreds of years ago, people might have attributed unexplained acts of violence and murder to mythical monsters. In the absence of technology, it was easier to blame the supernatural than entertain the idea that your fellow parishioner was capable of dismembering your neighbor. Vampires and werewolves are very much paired together when we look at legends. That's from Meg Hafdahl, co author of the book The Science of Monsters. Write these books down. Oftentimes, the things that made people believe the vampires were real back in the day, they also attributed to werewolves, and that was often before they understood science. Mhm. Do you remember the movie Teen Wolf? The photo. Let me see if I can share this with you. Hold on one second, friends. In the article that I'm reading from. Eh, So terrified about doing this. Where's my Wolfman? Wolfman. There's Teen Wolf. There's Michael J. Fox, 1985, Teen Wolf. Maybe we watch Teen Wolf at some point. Um, okay, I'm gonna stop share. Stop sharing. Silver-handed stick. These are see, like, and I've had this movie for a while. I've never shown it to my kids. This is a movie they can watch. This is a movie they can totally watch. I had them watch a couple of years ago for the first time, House on Haunted Hill, Vincent Price, the black and white version, not the colorized version, and is great. They loved it. And actually, like it ends kind of abruptly, and they're like, "What?" So, but these kinds of movies, like I really want them to see stuff like this. I want them to fall in love with these movies because it's low stakes. My kids, they're still fairly young. I've introduced them to some stuff. Last year, I finally got them to watch Krampus because I knew they would like. They were afraid for the longest time, but I knew they would love it if they could get through it, and they did, and I think they did enjoy it. And then Christmas came, and I got them Krampus bells, and I did it in the best way possible. Like I put the bells on the porch, just on the porch, and then I faked a knock at the door and answered the door, and I was like, "Guys, come here, you got to see this." And they came to the door. He's showing them the bite. I've been bit, and the kids were like, "Ah!" But they have these amazing Krampus bells, like real legit heavy Krampus bells. So it was great. Best thing I did that Christmas. Um, so talking about how, like, in this article, how people just believed things before they knew science. Uh, for example, they talk about like if someone with a skin condition that was triggered by sunlight um, existed in the village, they might be categorized as a vampire or someone who was unholy in some way. And a person suffering from hypertrichosis or excessive hair growth, they might be dubbed a werewolf. It's hard to believe now. This is Halfdoll again. It's hard to believe now, but back in Europe, thousands of years ago, people believed that they themselves were monsters, which is awful to think about, but they didn't know how to square it up with what they understood of the world. So, are werewolves real? The answer of the point of this article, as far as werewolves actually being real and living among us, Halfdoll says that while it's an intriguing idea, it is unlikely. I'd love for the answer to be maybe there's a werewolf or maybe they were real at one point. That would be really cool, she says, but I don't think we're going to find that that's true. Um, but she does say this. Uh, if our regular notion of a werewolf is it's a normal person during the day and then at certain nights or times of the year they turn into a complete wolf, how would we know if we've ever seen one or not? Perhaps, like accused murderer Peter Stump, the real monsters might just be the ones lurking inside of us. Um, Oh, so one thing to know about this, Evelyn Ankers had a rough time on set. There goes a casket. Lon Chaney Jr. was a real dick. I'm kidding. He delighted in sneaking up on her in full makeup and scaring her senseless. In another deleted scene, a bear was meant to wrestle with the werewolf, but broke loose, chasing the actress up into the sound stage's rafters. That's wild, man. That's crazy. Uh, she later recalled that during the filming of the final confrontation, she was required to faint and then to stay on the floor until the fight scene between Lon Chaney Jr. and Claude Rains was finished. Evelyn recalled that during one take, she stayed on the floor so long that the low hanging chemical fog being used in the scene caused her to pass out for real. When the take was over, the film crew began rearranging the cameras and lights for the next take, not noticing that she had not emerged from the floor. Finally, someone on the crew realized that she was missing and she was pulled up from the fog and revived. That's great, guys. Good job. Way to make sure your actress doesn't die on set. Um, so the woman who plays the old gypsy woman in this film, who we've already seen on camera, Maria Ospenskaya, she was only 6 years older than Bela Lugosi, who played her son. Oh, there she is again. Hmm. Don't be a pagan. Dancing and singing and making merry. Um, so according to a documentary on the recent Wolfman DVD collection, the script for this movie was influenced by writer Kurt Siodmak's experiences in Nazi Germany. Kurt had been living a normal life in Germany only to have it thrown into chaos and himself on the run when the Nazis took control, just as Larry Talbot finds his normal life thrown into chaos and himself on the run once he's turned into a werewolf. Um, the Wolfman himself can be seen as a metaphor for the Nazis, an otherwise good man who's transformed into a vicious killing animal who knows who his next victim will be when he sees the symbol of a pentagram on them. Oh, interesting. I didn't know this part. So, Universal Studios was a little bit anxious about the public's appetite for horror movies following the attack on Pearl Harbor. Um, I didn't. I didn't even think about that. They were nervous that audiences wouldn't want to see horror of any shape after that. But the film became one of the studio's top grossers in 1942. I mean, because like horror at the end of the day is this is just me. This is just me talking. Horror at the end of the day is escapism, but of a different variety. You know, like people who gravitate towards rom-coms or comedies or epic fantasy films and books, anything like that. Like it's all escapism. It's all like, hey, can we just forget about the crap of the world for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and just be told a story and be entertained, maybe be scared, maybe be sad, maybe fall in love, maybe laugh, maybe cry. We just want to be told stories and be swept up in make believe for a while. There's a fine father for you. Um, Cocktail grows on you. I mean, I'm drinking it. It's almost done. Oh, we are now at 30 minutes. 30 minutes and 12, I don't know, 30 minutes and 15 seconds. Um, Oh, wait. Oh, it's a cane. I thought it was like a gun he pulled out. I'm like, "What?" So let's see. There's an article that I'll share with you guys. Again, if you're part of our Patreon, you already got it. But for everybody else, I'll share it after the live stream's over. This came out 10 years ago. 12 howling facts about the Wolfman. Number one, the working title for this film was Destiny. That sucks. That's riding on the high of success of Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which came out 10 years prior. Another amazing dress. Boris Karloff's Frankenstein in 31 and Claude Rains' The Invisible Man in 33. Universal Studios gave audiences a fresh look at another famous monster in 1935, the year they released Werewolf in London, starring Broadway crowd pleaser Henry Hull. Unlike many of the studio's previous flicks, this lupine picture tanked at the box office. Tanked. Still, 6 years later, Universal was ready to give the lycanthrope genre one more try. So our screenwriter, novelist Kurt Siodmak was tapped to pen the script. And in just 7 weeks' time, he put together this story. Again, remember what we just said, somewhat based off of Nazi Germany. 7 weeks. It's crazy. Originally, the movie was titled Destiny, but that was changed to Wolfman by the time it premiered. I wonder why Destiny. Doesn't say why per se. We already know. Number two on this list is the references to Nazi Germany, the real life atrocities that helped shape his um, story told from an empathetic angle with the monster. And like Frankenstein, same thing. There's just a great deal of empathy that you have for the creature, the monster, the beast. Um, so here's more on his influences on that period of history. Even as a boy, Siodmak's literary talents were readily apparent. At age 9, his first short story was published in a children's magazine. That's amazing. Bowing to his father's wishes, the young man went on to earn degrees in engineering and mathematics, but he always wanted to be, he always circled back to writing. Good for you. By the late 20s, he found work as a journalist and emerged as one of Berlin's most prominent authors. Can you imagine? Can you imagine your father being like, no, I'm going to demand that you be into math and science? Sorry, I knocked my mic. Depriving the world of this award winning author. Let's see. Here's that fact. Bela Lugosi did. This is number 3. Bela Lugosi did want to play the main character, but he lost the role to Lon Chaney Jr. And this role propelled Lon Chaney Jr. into stardom. Nevertheless, the former Count Dracula didn't get left out. He is in the movie, as we saw. Um, Is there a tablet? Taking off into the crowd. So the poem, even a man who is pure at heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolf's bane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Over the course of the film, this spooky verse is recited on several occasions, usually by a character who claims that it's some sort of ancient rhyme. But the poem was really authored by Kurt Siodmak himself. In 1989, he told journalist Tom Weaver, "Nowadays, film historians think it's from German folklore. It isn't. I made it up." Authentic or not, the poem was repeated verbatim in 2004's Van Helsing, which I never saw. My spouse has seen it. And I don't know that he's a fan, but he watches it. He's watched it more than once. Isn't that the one that has Kate Bush? Not Kate Bush. Kate Beckinsale? Sorry. Kate Bush is on the brain because I was in a coffee shop this morning. I was in a coffee shop working on my laptop, and I also was listening to something in my ears on my AirPods and, in one AirPod, and so I could hear the music that the coffee shop was playing, and Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights came on, and I was listening in on a meeting, trying to work, jamming out in my head to Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights song, and I was just like, I've lost my ability to focus because all I'm hearing is Bush, like, her amazing vocals and her song, and just, like, I know the music video, so I'm just, like, playing the music video in my head and just having a ball in the coffee shop. Uh-oh, she's gonna meet with him. She's gonna meet with him. Keep touching my elbow because I think I got bit by a mosquito. I think this is gonna be where she tells him, "You're cooked. You killed the wolf. You killed Bella. You killed my son." Mhm. Only with a silver bullet. Yeah, so this is the part that I saw in The Sandlot when I was little. Well, younger. I was a kid. Take this charm. Didn't she say, like, "God help you"? She's There's no hope for you, my dude. Is bitten by a werewolf and lives. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Do you dare to show me the wound? What did she say? Go now and heaven help you. That's what she says. And heaven help you. Pobrecito. Okay, number 5. In the 12 facts, there was some tension between our two leads, nicknamed Queen of the Bees. Evelyn Ankers appeared in numerous horror films, usually as some love interest or damsel in distress. In The Wolf Man, she plays Gwen Conliffe, a store owner's daughter who falls for Talbot. Although their characters had great chemistry, kind of already alluded to this in the other post, they didn't always get along behind the scenes because trouble was started brewing when the actress was given Chaney's dressing room to get even. He subjected her to numerous, but he was just a jokester, none of which she found funny. On many occasions, a 6 foot, 220-pound man snuck up behind her in full werewolf makeup. Like, just sorry, dude. Like, if you do it once and it's not a hit, drop it. But he kept at it. Once she turned around, he would seize her shoulders and growl. She said he had to hold me or I would have ended up in the rafters. Yeah, we are. Number 6 is I've already talked to you about this one, the dangerous fog machine. She passed out. They were dumb and didn't think to consider her until, like, they're like, "Hey, where's Gwen?" Or "Where's, Evelyn?" So, number 7, the monster's design was recycled from a different movie, Werewolf of London. And, yeah, we've been through these. Number 8, his getup took hours to put on. Although, like I said, kind of modest by like the standards of today, and some of the films where we know the makeup was excessive. Consider what's his face from Stranger Things who plays Vecna. I'm blanking on that actor's name, but you know him. I know him. I think, like, didn't he have to, like, did he even get to go to the bathroom? I don't even know. Live bear once rampaged through set. We already know that. We talked about that. Chaney's beloved dog makes a cameo appearance. When Bella bites Talbot, he does so in canine form. For that scene, Wagner recruited a German shepherd named Moose. And as it happens, Moose was Chaney's pet. By all accounts, the two were inseparable, and the Wolfman star could often be seen walking the canine around the Universal lots. Unfortunately, tragically, Moose was killed by a car in 1944. Now, you may or may not know this. Number 11, the movie's release date was met with some controversy. Oh, poor Lon. From the get go, we already talked about this. hesitation around Pearl Harbor. Um, when did this movie get released? Oh, because it released in December of 1941. That's yeah, I would understand their hesitation. With the attack still casting a shadow over the American public, they worried that they wouldn't find the Wolfman or any monster picture particularly, oh, that's interesting. They weren't worried they were worried that it wouldn't be scary, that they wouldn't find it the least bit frightening, I guess because of the real horrors of the world. But, as we know, that didn't turn out to be the case. They kept to their schedule. It was previewed in Hollywood on December 9th and opened nationwide 3 days later. Some critics felt that given recent events, the studio's decision to unveil a new creature feature was in poor taste. Um, I think Variety called it dubious entertainment at the time. And yet, against all expectations, the movie turned into a monster hit, grossing 1,000,000 domestically, which was, I mean, spectacular for the time. And it was Lon Chaney's all-time favorite role. That's number 12. He's turning. The hairiness. I mean, the movie secured his place amongst, the horror icons. The Mount Rushmore of horror icons is what the article talks about. So Lugosi, Karloff, Rains, Chaney. So the hair. So the Wolfman head that I have, that I built my Chupacabra, costume off of, like, I've had it for years, and in our previous home, we've lived in this home for 5 years. In our previous home is where when I got it, and I built, a form off of PVC. I shouldn't say I didn't do jack squat, my father did. Built me a there he is, Wolfman, in the fog. Looks great. Where are we right now? 42 minutes, 50 seconds. So, I we had the wolf form off of PVC pipe, and then we just outfitted it with, like, what we could. Clothes is very, you know, hung on the PVC pipe frame, wasn't anything fancy. I didn't bother to stuff it or anything. And then we made paws and feet and hands and all that stuff. But for this, I just decided, go for it. We're gonna buy a mannequin. You can order mannequins online for pretty cheap. And now I have it. Now I have this mannequin figure that is like life size. It's like 6'2" or 6'1" or something like that. And so it's just like I can do anything with this now. The sky's the limit. Um, and I have a proper Wolfman costume and a proper Wolfman head. So maybe we do Wolfman this year. Okay, let me head back over here. So we've talked about that. Let's see. Mm, 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 mm. Um, uh-oh. Mhm. Yeah, wolf. Oh, we're seeing evidence of shenanigans the night before. I think it's like I think it's like 2 hours, like Benicio del Toro's, Wolfman. Look at that lamp. Benicio del Toro's Wolfman is like a 2 plus hour movie. That's a long movie. I like this movie, the same way that I like a lot of horror movies of yore. Um, nice and short. Nice and short. So he's like, "What the crap did I do?" Now I have not seen, what's the name of the movie where hold on, guys, I'm gonna look it up while we're watching. There's a movie where Frankenstein and Wolfman are in the same film, isn't it? Isn't it like Frankenstein and Wolfman? Um, let's see. I'm pretty sure there is one. Yeah, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. That's right. Came out in 1942. And that's where we see Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot and Bela Lugosi as Frankenstein's monster, which is interesting because Bela Lugosi doesn't play um, the original monster, does he? No, right? No, right? Am I crazy? Am I remembering wrong? No, Boris Karloff. Yeah. So I've never seen Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. I've wanted to though. So I think where I stopped was I saw like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. I saw Son of Frankenstein, and then I think I took a break. I think I took a break because I was ready to leave the 30s. I wanted to jump into the 40s. So I think I was thinking I was going to watch Frankenstein meets the Wolfman next, and then I didn't get around to it. I should. I should watch it. That came out the year after this one, so that would now would be a good time to pick it back up. But I want to jump into like Frankenstein movies of later years. To some people, life is very simple. Hmm. Do I believe a man can become a wolf? Well, mm, you can become you can become a monster in your own mind. We're at 48 minutes, 49 minutes even. So we're coming to the end, guys. We've got 20 more minutes. Um, what I like about this movie is like we can finish it within a reasonable time frame. The last time we did a watch party, we watched Copycat. I forget why. I think there was a theme related to it, but I can't remember what it was at the time. Um, but we didn't finish the movie in the course of the live stream because it was a slightly longer movie. It was like an hour and a half, maybe close to 2 hours. I don't remember, but I love that movie. It's a great film. Sigourney Weaver. What's her face? Holly Hunter. If I could be, let me tell you, if I could be somebody who does vintage fashions, I wish I could do stuff like this. I do like beautiful church. I do like vintage fashions, but I guess what I tend to gravitate toward would be like 70s, 60s fashions. Just because I guess guess I just pull that off better, but I wish I could pull stuff off like this also. All the people turning in the church pews. Mm. He's a damned man. Poor guy. It's like I put on my fedora and I head on out. Um, I do think the rosemary does add something to it. So going back to the article about, werewolves, what the experts have to say about it, um, it is I said that, the article says perhaps like accused murderer Peter Stump, the real monsters might just be the ones lurking inside of us. Josh Wood says, we're never going to stop telling werewolf tales. It's just a part of us. Serial killers have always been with us. And were they possessed? Were they werewolves? Woods asks, I don't know how much of a difference there is between some of these human monsters uh, and some of the real ones, other than the way that they look. Hofdahl kind of agrees, saying that's probably why the werewolf myth endures. It's sort of that Jekyll and Hyde story. This idea that you become a werewolf and then you go back to being a human again. That says a lot about humanity and the fear of not having control over ourselves. Real or imaginary, one thing is for sure, werewolves are likely here to stay. It's just a part of us. Woods again, Josh Woods. It's just a part of us. And so we all have a little bit of werewolf in us, I guess. Who I know I read it at the beginning, but I forgot who plays the doctor. He's very striking. He's very handsome. He's very handsome. Speaking of, by the way, so I said that I saw Benicio del Toro's Wolfman. I have not seen the most recent Wolfman that came out last year with Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner. I have not seen that. If you've seen it and you liked it, let me know. Um, I know it got like mixed reviews, or some people liked it, some people didn't. So I'm interested. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I'm really partial to this story. I'm really partial to the Benicio del Toro story. Um, I didn't feel it needed to be done again. But that doesn't mean that I'm opposed to somebody coming along and doing it. The doctor was Warren William. Very handsome. He has a striking nose. I like his nose. Okay, now what? Where are we going? The howling of the wolf. Uh-oh. Out again. Oh no. He fell into a trap. Cursed afflictions of being a beast. Poor thing. Ugh. I also, oh no. Oh gosh. I also, oh honey, somebody get him free. I do feel like, again, I keep referencing Benicio del Toro's Wolfman because I do Somebody back me up. I can't be alone, but I do feel like that movie really does try to honor the essence of this film, maybe. Like, there's liberties taken and there's variations, but it really tried, in my opinion, to stay true to the the 1941 version. So Evelyn Anchors, aw, Evelyn Anchors, did the was in The Ghost of Frankenstein, Jungle Woman, Weird Woman. She's in Son of Dracula. She's in Son of Dracula? Is she? She play his wife? I don't know, I have to go back and watch it. I don't remember now. I only saw it once. So, what else? Hold That Ghost with Abbott and Costello. Invisible Man's Revenge, which came out in 1944. Uh, uh, Not featuring Claude Rains. I don't see Claude Rains in the lineup. Featuring Robert Griffin. She came to help you, you fool. Um, I've never seen the original Invisible Man. Full disclosure. I was also not aware that Claude Rains is in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'll have to rewatch that. Larry Talbot, what are you doing? And why are you limping? Poor dude. And he's got a terrible limp. But nobody's concerned about that. I do appreciate that in every single one of these outdoor scenes we have fog. See, they say Talbot, and I say Talbot. I don't know why. This poor dude. But see, even in even in the Benicio del Toro movie, Emily Blunt works in a shop. So see, it's like they really do try to stay true to this film, I feel like. I may have to go in and watch it soon. I think he does so good. There's a scene in that version where they have Benicio del Toro in the he's in a classroom lecture hall, and it's one of those where it's like there's like stadium seating, and so he's sitting down there and he's strapped to a chair, and they're like, the professor whatever is talking about how it's like I forget what they're doing. I forget what he's like been committed to some uh, mental hospital, and so he's undergoing all of these treatments and abuses and being studied and gawked at by these men of science. And so he's sitting there strapped to the chair, and he's like, I have to kill all of you. And I just like I quote that line a lot. I'm just like, and now I have to kill all of you. There he is pleading with his beloved. Oh no, he sees a star. That's his next victim. We have like less than 10 minutes to go. She doesn't see the star, but he sees it. and he knows. We are at 1 hour, 16 minutes, guys. Oh gosh. Yeah, he doesn't want her to be the next victim. Of course not. You know what's so funny? I haven't really paid attention until now, but for this man being his father, they look the same age. The same way Bela Lugosi was like not much older than the woman who's supposedly his mother. So, and it was black and white. You can get away with lots of things when it's black and white. He's like, this is madness. The lady. Does she have a name? Is she just Gypsy Woman in the movie? Maleva? 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 You're a grown man. Mhm. This is Talbot Castle. Talbot? Maybe because isn't there like a Talbot's clothing store? And that's why I keep saying Talbot's. Talbot. It's not spelled that way. I think they're British. So there is whatever. Anyway, Talbot. Mhm. So take the cane. Larry's silver wolf-headed cane, uh, the only known surviving prop from the movie, currently resides in the personal collection of genre film archivist Bob Burns. Burns was a schoolboy at the time, and he was given the cane head by the man who made it for the film, who was a prop maker named Ellis Berman. I have not really paid attention. Let's look this up real quick. Uh, let's see if we can get an image on it. I honestly have not paid attention to the cane. I bet you could find a version of it now. Let's see. Well, there are lots of versions out there that feel pretty pretty accurate. Let me see. You can buy a replica. Maybe one of these days. One of these days, if I ever require a cane, or hell, just to have a cane, I'll get one, and it'll be a wolf cane, a wolf thing. That'd be badass. Okay, so now the father is talking to um, the fortune teller lady. You don't believe in witches' tales, do you? Not for a minute. It's very weird to do a live stream on a Wednesday at 9:30 for me. I have to teach in the morning. Um, but we're wrapping up our school year, so I have a light day tomorrow, which will be nice. And it's not like I'm not teaching at like too early in the morning, so I'll be all right. But it is weird. It's like 9:30. I'm like, let's hop on a live stream, guys. Thank you for sticking it out with me. If you've been with me for the duration as we're watching this film together, we got a little under 4 minutes to go as we wrap up these final scenes. He's in wolf form. Is he going to get her? It's like, girl, get it in like a flashlight, maybe a lantern. You're just running around in the dark. A lit torch like all these people have. Poor dude. You do. Oh no. Don't attack her. Oh, they're gonna shoot him. Don't do it. Oh, dang. Did he kill her? No. Did he kill her? Oh, goodness. By your own father. I can't remember. Does he kill his father? Oh, geez. He's like beating you with the silver cane. Jesus. Sir. He's down. Ease up. Ah. that was, ugh. Pobrecito. You done killed your son. Got the lady. The way you walked was thorny through no fault of your own. But as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea. So tears run to a predestined end. Oh, he's transforming. And he sees now that you beat your son. Now you will find peace for eternity. So I believe this is the scene where Evelyn has passed out in the fog and she's just going to stay there for, I don't know, probably a good 10, 20 minutes while they're repositioning cameras. Our girl's just down and out for the count in the fog somewhere. Poor Sir John. Next time you got to believe when your son's telling you that they are a werewolf, maybe believe. Don't beat them with a cane. At least don't do that, right? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. The end, a universal picture. All right. Thus ends our viewing of 1941's The Wolfman. I hope you enjoyed it. Always fun. Let's put this on our Halloween list this year. Let's maybe be inspired by Wolfman this year and see what we can conjure up for Halloween 2026. See, like, okay, when the movie's over and you see the post boobs, it's just Evelyn's boobs. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not referring to her boob. I'm referring to the movie. I hope you enjoyed the film. I hope you enjoyed your American Werewolf cocktail. And if you have not listened to this week's episode of Don't Watch at Night, please do. We will be coming back to you in May, looking at 1990s horror. And the film we're going to be watching next is 1990. Crap, is it 8? Let's say 1998, and I could be wrong. 1998's The Faculty, directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Josh Hartnett and Elijah Wood and other people. But those are the ones that I know off the top of my head. So tune in for us, with us, when we discuss that, wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you are part of our Patreon, awesome. If you're not, free to join. I'll link it for you in the description for this stuff after the live stream. If you follow us on YouTube, excellent. If not, consider doing it. We post a lot of videos there, a lot of content. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening and watching tonight. Bye.